tonight. Let's be clear that this event is for Southern Minnesota. We want to thank MnCUP for this opportunity to host our 4th annual Ignite Cup competition. And we are just thrilled that we've been able to curate a partnership with MnCUP, that our winner of tonight's event would be an automatic semifinalist in the largest statewide new venture competition. And so we're real thrilled about that. And so to next start, we'd like to introduce our judges. And I will let Jessica speak first. She's the director of MnCUP. And do you want to just say a quick couple words?
So thank you, Neela, and thanks to all of you for being here, especially on such a beautiful evening. I'm sorry I was coming in hot from driving here from the cities, but it was a beautiful drive. So hopefully we can all enjoy the weather this week and this weekend. So I think I've met many of you and recognize a lot of faces, but I'm the director of Minnesota Cup. We're a competition based at the Carlson School of Management and their Home Center for Entrepreneurship, but we are a competition for the entire state of Minnesota. For any entrepreneurs, any aspiring entrepreneurs, people who just have an idea that doesn't even have to be an entity yet, we really want you to apply to the competition. We'd love your referrals into our competition. The 2019 season is open for applications until, for 8 of the 9 divisions until April 26th. We've given our youth division a little bit longer to apply this year. Their division is May 12th, and those are for, that division is for entrepreneurs 18 and under. So spread the word too if you know any really bright high school students or people who have business ideas that could get a lot of value out of the mentorship and the resources that we provide. We strive to essentially aggregate and work with community partnerships, much like we do with Red Wing Ignite and this Southern Minnesota community, to bring together resources from private foundations, from corporations, from community organizations, and do our best to funnel those towards entrepreneurs without charging anything to participate. We take no equity on the prize money that we give away. And yeah, we really work together and benefit a ton from the skilled volunteers and just all these community partnerships to make this competition a success every year and to hopefully help make Minnesota a really welcoming, supportive place to start a new company. So we're really excited and proud of the partnership that we have with Red Wing Ignite. I'm excited to offer an automatic semifinalist spot to the winner of this pitch competition. So I'm thrilled about that. And then I'm also happy to share and sort of let you all know that our partnership and our connection with Red Wing Ignite extends beyond just the immediate competition or that automatic semifinalist role, that for those people who don't move forward into the semifinals, that we do have a relationship and a partnership to try to make sure that you're able to still connect with resources here if you don't move forward. So we're really trying to find the people in the best position to support entrepreneurs from across the state. And so oftentimes, hopefully that's, we wish all of you really good luck if you're applying to MnCUP and hope that you make it into the semifinals, but know that it's competitive and not everybody does, particularly in your first year. So I think that's all I have to say, but I just appreciate you having me here, and thank you so much to Neela and the team for putting it all together.
And there's the team up on the screen. So. And the other judges, Pam Bishop with the Southern Minnesota Initiative Foundation and Steve Mursell with Golden Triangle Fund and Green Source Capital. So thank you. I also want to thank our sponsor, Deed, for offsetting some of the expenses for this event. Natalie's in the back of the room representing Deed tonight. And really need to thank our many regional partners that are all listed here. We know we can't do this work in isolation. Our entrepreneurs, our businesses, and our region are obviously much stronger when we work together. And that is why there's a few of us in the room that have launched something called E1, Entrepreneur First Collaborative. And Smith was kind enough to provide some seed funds for this pilot. And so Entrepreneurs First, even some of the entrepreneurs in the room have experienced this collaborative. If you want to stand up, those of you in the room that are part of this, Jamie, since I put the Collider, and Samantha, and where else? We're missing, Judy, and there's a handful of other of people that might be here tonight. But the goal of this initiative is to put the entrepreneur in the center and wrap the services around the needs of the entrepreneur. So we're looking beyond our city limits, our organizational boundaries, and putting the entrepreneurs and the businesses in the center. And so we have a very collaborative team, wonderful people, smart people in our region, and together we're here to support you. So, thank you. But now, we get a brief update from some of our past winners. So the 3 of the past Ignite Cup winners, I thought everyone would like a little bit of an update of where they are and what they're doing. And Paula was our most recent winner. You start.
Hi, I'm Paula Trenda. I founded Curly Girls Candy in 2014. We are located in downtown Owatonna, Minnesota. And we specialize in creating a sugar-free and no sugar added line of candies. So we created our own blend of plant-based sweeteners, which we are tweaking and have been tweaking for the last few months, which not only helps lower our costs, but helps to make it even healthier. Doesn't raise your insulin levels and that sort of thing like some of our sweeteners can do in excess. So one of the things that we took away from both the Ignite Cup and the Minnesota Cup is the feedback that we got from the various different mentors and classes that we were able to take. So we did hire last summer a marketing firm out of Mankato, and we started right after Christmas rebranding our company. So our current logo has an old little truffle when we started out as just a mom and pop candy store, and so we have now rebranded, and it's not launched yet, and I don't have packaging in. So trying to create our brand to actually be as premium as the product tastes. And so we've got all new packaging coming, we've got all new colors, we've got a whole new site being launched. Most of our business is online, and we continue to see our growth in the range of 200% or more in sales every quarter, and it's just going crazy, and we do this all with 8 people. So that's what we do.
I'm Susan Langer, founder of the company Live, Give, Save, and the product Spave. It's a financial app that allows you to use your spending to save and to give without changing your behavior. We launched in the App Store last summer, and we have 160 people that are currently users. We've had a measured growth because we actually ran out of funding. Thanks to Smith, though, we had some additional funding that helped us get to where we're at today. We are engaged with an organization in Australia. We're in negotiations with them, and we're looking from them for funding to open up new markets and to help us with our adoption and to fill out our leadership team. So we're super excited about that. We have a goal that by the end of this month that we'll have 100 new Spavers, so please go to the App Store and download Spave and link your accounts. Thank you very much.
So I'm Brandon McCutcheon, CEO and co-founder of Phrase, which is what I'll be presenting on tonight. At the time that I won the Ignite Cup, it was for a different company called Zerta. So really my big lesson learned was a solid pivot, really. Totally different space, and really learned the value of kind of working in my area of domain expertise, which is both healthcare and data analytics, artificial intelligence. So look forward to telling you a little bit more in the presentation about our AI medical scribe and what we're doing with that.
It's been a joy to work with all of them. And now we are on to the pitches. So the format for tonight is 7 minutes. Each of the businesses will get 7 minutes to pitch. Shannon is our timekeeper, so we're pretty strict about that. She runs a tight ship. And then we'll have 3 minutes for Q&A. And so we are going to start. It's in alphabetical order. So Busy Baby is our first one. Pretty sad that I need cheaters just to hit play, but.
All right. So good afternoon, everybody. I'm going to start by telling you a little bit about myself. My dad is an entrepreneur. He's had his own business my entire life, and I've always wanted to have my own business as well. But there was never anything that I felt passionate enough about to actually start a business. I knew from all my dad's ups and downs over the years that you really do have to have passion for what you're doing. And I also didn't see a lot of opportunity in my hometown after high school, so I ended up joining the Army. I spent 10 years traveling the country and the world, Working in a male-dominated field and surviving 3 deployments, there's a lot of exciting and very challenging times. And then after my time in the Army, I got a couple degrees and got a nice corporate job, which has challenged me in all new ways. But nothing in this life has challenged me as much as what happened when I turned 40. Becoming a new mom was hard. I really thought that I was going to have it made as a new mom, having so much more life experience. I already had an established career, disposable income, and life pretty much figured out, or so I thought. But it turns out women like me, women over the age of 30, have now trumped the number of first-time moms in their 20s. More and more couples are waiting until later in life to finish their education and start their careers before they start their families. With an established career is usually a little bit more purchasing power to buy things for a new baby. So, who is my target market? It's women like me. What is Busy Baby? What problem is it solving? If you've ever been out to eat with an infant or a toddler, you know exactly what this is. Shortly after my son was born, I went out to eat with a couple of girlfriends and their kids. And those poor mamas spent the entire meal trying to keep things out of baby's reach, give them something to play with, picking everything up off the ground. We could not even have a full conversation. So I went online right away at the table to Amazon looking for something to buy for my son, so when we went out to eat, he wouldn't be that distraction. And I really couldn't find anything that would do the job. So I ended up creating it. The Busy Baby mat is 100% silicone placemat that suctions to a table or any smooth flat surface. And it has a tether system that allows you to attach baby's toys to the mat, so they always stay within arm's reach. There's nothing like it on the market. It rolls up into this nice little sleeve that fits in most purses and diaper bags. It's dishwasher safe. It's a safe place to put baby snacks. And best of all, no more toys on the floor. So I mentioned that I went online looking for something to buy. Here are a few of the things I saw. There's placemats that have built-in bowls, stops the kids from throwing their dishes. There's other placemats that just suction to the table, protect from the surface germs, keep the surface cleaner. And then there's this apple-shaped product that has a suction cup base that allows you to attach toys, but there's no safe place to put baby snacks. The Busy Baby mat does what all 3 of these do and more. I've used it in the tub with my son. I've used it on the window when he practiced standing. But wait, there's more. Now that I've been selling this for a couple months, I've had so many awesome videos and photos from real mamas. Got a baby that's not big enough to sit up? Wrap the mat around the carrier and hang some toys so they have some entertainment while you're waiting for that appointment. I've been getting a lot of notes from moms thanking me for giving them more freedom and time in the kitchen, because now that baby is content in the high chair with the Busy Baby mat, they have more time to cook or actually finish their meal. The mama on the top right there sent me that picture from spring break, thankful to have the mat to hold the toys in place. You know, if you're on an airplane and you drop something, you're not going to reach it until everybody's deboarding, and no baby's going to wait for that. But my all-time favorite, and I'm going to spill your diesel for a minute, is the shopping cart. You wrap it around the shopping cart handle, it suctions to itself. You can attach toys, and the babies that chew, that want to lean forward and gnaw on it, now have a clean space to gnaw on instead of who knows what is on that cart. So I currently sell the mats on my website, busybabymat.com. I have been setting up an Amazon store. I haven't launched it yet. I kind of want to stay under the radar for right now. And I've also had 6 or 7 brick and mortar stores reach out to me wanting to sell my products. So I have begun working on retail packaging, which I don't have yet. As of today, I hit $12,000 in sales. So, milestone. In the market, toys, baby market, you wouldn't think because of Toys R Us, but sales have actually been going up, and that's due to e-commerce. People can buy all their baby products online. That's where I want to live. Barriers to entry, trying to be unique, trying to get brand awareness, and protecting your IP. I have filed patent and trademark in both the US and China, so I've got that covered as much as you can. Nobody does what the Busy Baby mat does, so I've got it pretty unique. That brings us down to marketing and branding. So I just launched my marketing campaign March 15th, about a month ago, when my product finally arrived to my home. I do sell these out of my basement right now. I've sent a lot of mats out to social media influencers who are sharing with their followers. I did a Facebook and Instagram campaign. I was featured in local news in Rochester, and I just sent out a nationwide press release last week. But the best marketing I've gotten so far was last weekend in Rochester. I did a Mommy Expo. 15% of the attendees bought mats on the spot. Some of these moms are still pregnant, haven't even had their kid, but they see the value. I'm currently $126,000 into this. With my own funds and a generous loan from my stepdad, I got product development done and the IP done. And then I got a deed loan and a SNF loan, no interest, to get me through production, get some marketing done, and now develop my retail packaging. The best part of all this is that there's actually money coming in. A quick look at the numbers, you can see that there are great margins with the 2 products I have developed. I have 3 more products ready to manufacture as soon as the funds are available. If I had $220,000, I could produce everything and maybe make $750,000 next year. And the team, I am currently a team of 1, but hopefully that will be changing very soon. I did get a executive producer from Shark Tank reached out to me, and I am on the show as soon as I get enough sales to prove market interest. So hopefully, if I can get that done by August, I'll be on this season. So for now, I'm going to do my retail packaging, the other news, I have a Minnesota manufacturer lined up I'm hoping to move forward with. I'll keep attending trade shows, get my patent going, and then market, and try and get these things sold. That is all I have. Sometimes life is a little easier when you have a busy baby. Question? Yes.
Who's your current manufacturer? How are you, I know that, I just happen to know that some of your choice not to go to Amazon yet is because you don't have the inventory to meet that type of demand. Do you need that 220K to incrementally achieve that, or do you have some other way to ramp up?
Sure. No, the reason right now I have manufacturing in China because I was told throughout this whole process that it's just 10 times more expensive in the US. So I automatically just went to China. And now that I have product, and I actually have 4,500 units in my house. So I think I could send to Amazon. I don't want to get knocked off. That's why I'm not going to Amazon. I would really just like to bring this home. And I did some due diligence after the fact and found out that after the cost of shipping and everything and tariffs and taxes, that Minnesota can produce this for the same cost. So that's what I'm hoping to move forward with.
So Beth, you were in MinCup last year, I believe, through this process, but you just applied.
Right.
I know you probably got some great feedback. What will be the difference this year should you get awarded the semifinalist position? What will be different in your pitch and presentation to catch the eye of the judges who are reviewing? We know at least 1,000 public applications.
Sure.
And maybe not so many in your vision, but what will be your value proposition in catching them this year?
The major difference was from when I applied last year, I only had drawings. I didn't even have a prototype. This year, I have product, I have sales, I have traction, and I have more plans going forward of what I'm doing next and how participating in the cup can help me get there. The mentorship would be huge, and the connections for bringing the manufacturing back to the US.
So when you talk about sales, I think I saw something that says you started getting sales in January.
Right.
And so I want to make sure I understand a couple things. When you say sales, we're talking about the sale of the product you're showing there. And that's since January. So you've got $12,000 of sales represents just for the last few months.
From January 23rd to today.
And then on maybe a week-to-week basis, can you give us a little feel for how sales have moved?
Sure. So I actually had some pre-sales on my website, and I flew in enough product to fill those orders in January. Shipping via air is obviously much more expensive than ocean. So I didn't do any marketing at all until March 15th because I wanted to fill my pre-orders and make those customers happy by getting their product as promised. I launched March 15th when the rest of my product arrived. So in January, February, and mostly March, there were very, very few sales. The majority of my sales have come since March 15th when I actually started marketing.
So what's the gross of those sales from March 15th?
I would think about 8,000.
Okay, all right, great.
Time.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Brian with Go Adventure.
Hi, thanks everybody. Brian Kuzlo, founder, CEO of Go Adventure. I'd like to tell you about how we're building an online marketplace for experienced businesses. So what will you find on Go Adventure when we launch? You'll find experiences like hiking and yoga, mountaineering and agritourism, and even coffee roasting and wine tasting, all offered by small businesses to locals and travelers alike. So these small businesses have some problems though. They have problems with finding their target market, payment processing, managing bookings, and if they're just starting an experience-based business, they even have a hard time finding insurance that will support them in that experience and even get in touch with an attorney that can help them form their business. Guests, us, we have a hard time finding these small businesses, even if we live in the same town. So the solution, we think, is Go Adventure, this online marketplace where you can go on there and these small businesses can host and list these experiences. Guests can come onto the platform and find and book them. We've built mobile first. It's going to be beautiful on your phone. It is a website that will act like an app, but on tablet and desktop, you're going to have a great experience as well. Competition, Airbnb, Head Out, Tenter, HipCamp, Outdoorsy, these are all marketplaces that are doing online experiences like this. Airbnb is doing sort of the same thing, except there's only 15 or so experiences in Minnesota right now. And we think that there should be a lot more, because Minnesota's a beautiful state, right? So what makes us better than Airbnb? It's because we're focused on helping small businesses grow with these experiences. So we're drawing a black and white line saying, look, we're never gonna risk a law changing and the people on our platform becoming employees of ours, because we're helping small businesses offer these experiences. We're the tools for this, versus all those other competitors, like Uber and everybody else, they're worried about the law changing. We also offer adventure add-ons so that hosts can stand out and look different by offering their products or different experiences so they can be customized by the guests. Building social features into it, and we're really focused on launching in southern Minnesota here and supporting every small community, not just travel destinations. We're using the commission-based model where hosts earn 80%, we take a 20% commission. So we make money when they make money, because we think that's a really good relationship to have. And then guests, they pay a $3 platform fee to help support this as well. We're also selling advertising to insurance agents, because we want to support small businesses like these insurance agents and get them connected to these hosts as well. So we're really all about building community. We're going to do the same with attorneys as well. Our market, there's a couple different ways to slice it up. The outdoor recreation market's an $887 billion market. But what we'd like to focus in on is the 4.7 million workers last year that got a 1099 working in a gig economy platform that said, you know what, I want to do this full time. We're that platform that can help them start a small business to offer experiences so that they can do a 1099 sort of gig economy, work as they like, on their own sort of thing. There's also 500,000 insurance agents that we can target across 40,000 independent insurance agencies. So we can be sure that we're connecting with an agent in that host's local area. Talk projections real quickly. In 2019, we think we can scale to 125 hosts, offering about 19,000 adventures total. With the 5 employees that we have currently. Go up 5 years, we think we can scale to 4,400 hosts. That might sound like a lot, but consider that we're launching nationally, and that's really only 88 hosts per state. We won't be in every single state, but that's not that many hosts. We're already finding a lot of traction here in southern Minnesota. And we'll offer about 1.2 million adventures year 5. With about 71 employees. So we're going to bring a lot of high-tech jobs to this region. So we're really taking a community-first approach. Small business is really important to me. It's where I come from. And so we want to support those lawyers, the advertising, or the insurance agents, those small businesses, really help them grow in their community. And we're finding a lot of support from economic development associations. We just did an economic summit for Fillmore County. We met a lot of the EDAs in that county, and they're bringing us entrepreneurs saying, hey, boost the businesses in my area. And so they're the ones feeding these to us. And so I think it's a really powerful growth tool. So our go-to-market is work with those EDAs. We've already sold some insurance advertising. We have 1 agent on board. We're actually meeting a couple of more. We just launched that last month. And so we're making a little bit of inroads there. We'll have 28 adventures across 16 different hosts when we launch. And we use social media and blogs and whatnot to gain some more exposure. We've got a team of 5 very talented people. Scott, for instance, owned an adventure touring company. So we all have tech, IT backgrounds except for Scott, but he brings the adventure side of things, and we're all adventurous ourselves. So some milestones. We founded in October of 2015. I've invested $16,000 of my own money. We've got 2 committed investors, Gary Evans for $25,000, Smith for $20,000 of a $100,000 round that we're raising, and we were incorporated in 2018. Here's the first 28 adventures that we'll have on our platform. We're very diverse, and I'll open it up to questions. Jessica?
So, the slide that you showed describing the size of market
Yes.
referred to that many of these existing hosts tend to operate in a 1099 sort of in a gig economy
Yep.
format. Do you know what subset of the 4.7 million that you quoted is 1099 employees that are focused on these types of spaces?
That we don't know.
Okay.
Good question. Yes.
So I get the adventure idea and all those kind of connections. I guess I'm having some trouble understanding what the true connection is between, you know, the insurance or law firm side of things. In other words, I get the, you know, I'm interested in finding cool things to do,
Yeah.
but I don't usually equate that with insurance.
No, so that's for the host side of things, because we're kind of two-sided business, right? We're supporting guests and we're supporting hosts. And we're finding that those hosts need that insurance. Some of them do, some of them are coming to us as businesses, but we have insurance agencies come to us and say, hey, can I advertise on your platform? Because I see an opportunity to find the leads. And so these new entrepreneurs that are coming to us, they need that insurance. So if we can connect them to a local insurance agent, we think that's pretty powerful. And those agents are saying the same thing. So, and same with the attorneys. We've got an attorney that we're about to bring on board as well. So they're offering startup packages because they realize that that's important to start, you know, and help entrepreneurs. But attorneys can sometimes be a scary thing to pay hourly.
So is it the same website, or are you using like an intranet or something?
It is the same site. Yep. So you have kind of a user profile portal sort of thing. If you're onboarded as a host, then you kind of have this whole back office sort of piece.
Okay,
And
so
so
if
that's
I'm
where
just
the-
looking for cool things to do, I don't see the.
You won't see the insurance or the attorneys. Yep. So it's within the flow. Yep.
So what you're saying, what I hear you saying is your primary customer is someone that wants an income stream.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And what you're providing them is the tools to capture that income stream. And that income stream is
Yes.
people who want a different kind of experience, right? So it could be a
Yes.
small business like I was looking up there, it looks like one is coffee roasters, for example. That was
Yeah, we
something
just brought them on board.
it has a retail type operation where you can buy coffee.
Yep.
And then this adds to that income stream, but then you might have me who likes to ride a bicycle and lives in a place where there are lots of tourists, and I might wanna say, well, every Sunday afternoon I like to go for a long bike ride, and I saw 10 people go with me.
Yes.
Make $100.
Yep. So yeah, the pitch for that
And
coffee
so really, your primary customer is that person who wants to add that income stream, and the reason for the insurance and the attorneys is to give a toolkit so they can do that
Yes.
responsibly, right?
Yep, absolutely. That coffee roaster, the pitch was, why not turn a $5 cup into a $40 cup? Because where else do you go to a roastery to roast your own coffee? Well, you can do it just 20 minutes outside of Rochester at a really cool place called Trail Creek Coffee Roasters. And so I did a 1 million cups presentation. They saw that, we connected over Instagram, signed them off. Yeah, so it's really cool because they're really the core of who we want to support, is these small businesses who hustled starting roasting coffee out of a popcorn maker, who now actually have the real equipment, have just started a business, are working with a boutique to bring more people in their door, but they've built this experience space. They want people to come in, their community, to experience, you know, coffee. And so they've actually got the coffee roasting, brewing, and cupping as different experiences.
What do you think, I mean, you did share some sort of, in a competitive landscape for assessing who your competition is, that there's Airbnb on one side,
Yep.
and then there's some more local experiential platforms.
Yep.
Here, what do you think your secret sauce really is? Is it the
I think that's what it is Airbnb is not serving those people. So like I said, there's only 15 adventures in Minnesota right now. And so we're really focusing on helping those small businesses bring those experiences out to the locals in their area, but then also for people that travel to that area. So that focus on the small business development.
I mean, because this is
Time.
for.
Sorry.
No.
And that's all I can say. That's all I can say. Go adventure.
And I get to work with her every day.
We're doing presidential debates next.
Yeah, I think they will.
I would love to.
Don't give her the opportunity.
All right, I'm again Brandon McCutcheon, CEO and co-founder of Phrase. I'm also a physician by training, and a couple of years ago I was really thinking about my experience and had somebody ask me, if I had to do it all over again, would I? I kind of had this moment and just wasn't too sure about it. And I really thought that was a tragedy and kind of looked into it a bit more. As I looked into it a bit more with myself and one of my co-founders who's also a physician at Stanford, we found that we weren't alone. And when we look at study after study, we find that really the problem, the number one problem today, is that physicians are spending more than half of their time entering data into the electronic medical record and doing data documentation. And this is the number one driver of this physician burnout epidemic that you probably have heard a bit about. It's associated with incredibly high turnover costs, and physicians are just fleeing the field en masse. And so really this became the impetus for creating Phrase and using our background in both data analytics and healthcare to see if we could come up with a solution to solve this. And when we looked at the marketplace, we also found that this was a very attractive opportunity from the problem perspective, because we found, and you could probably put yourself in this situation, how much would you be willing to pay to solve the number one thing you hate about your job? Well, the marketplace has shown that physicians spend up to $35,000 per year to solve this exact problem. They bring in a human medical scribe who effectively works as a workaround to the electronic health record and does their documentation for them. So very high willingness to pay in this space amongst physicians. And really, as physicians, we think about that, what we come to work to do is to solve interesting problems and take care of patients first and foremost. And I think as much as we are frustrated with this problem as physicians, patients really lament the experience of going into the exam room, having a very intimate conversation about a difficult problem, having the physician typing away on the electronic health record rather than looking at it in the eye. And so we're solving this problem for them as well. And so what is Phrase? Well, Phrase is an AI medical scribe that automates documentation for the physician. And the way it works is that in the exam room, the patient begins interacting with our text bot. It really gathers a lot of initial intake data that we can use, and then we pass that off to the physician. And before they've even gone into the exam room to see the patient, they have a very detailed sense of why the patient's there, giving them kind of really knowledge to allow them to have a more in-depth, more focused conversation, which increases efficiency. And at the same time, it starts that documentation. We're the only company right now on the market that can say that we're actually starting your documentation before you even see the patient. When the physician walks into the exam room, they have Phrase on their smartphone, they set it down on the desk and hit record. And just like Amazon Echo, Phrase captures that audio conversation between the patient and the physician, and that audio file is then sent through our server. Both those pieces of data, text bot data as well as the audio file, are then run through our AI engine. And what we return on the end is a first draft note for the physician's documentation on our user interface, on our platform that was designed by physicians for physicians. And so what we are able to deliver to the physician is really an experience that integrates nicely into their clinical workflow, which is the exact opposite of their experience today with the electronic health record. And so what value do we create for the end user? Well, with physicians and early simulation testing we've been able to do, we estimate that we're able to save physicians about an hour and a half per day. And as we look at selling into healthcare systems, we really have to think about this in terms of the language of the administrators. And so this hour and a half translates into an additional $9,000 per month in additional patients that can be seen during that time. And then when we look at the marketplace, we see this as a very attractive marketplace as well. In addition to the willingness to pay we discussed, We know from kind of a top-down research that this is an $18 billion market, as estimated by the current North American transcription scribe market. And then when we look at our initial verticals from the ground up, areas that have low complexity, single problem patients that are there for a focused visit in surgical subspecialties, urgent care and telehealth and pediatrics, we estimate that initial beachhead market from which we can expand is worth about $570 million. At the same time, this is a very, very early market and a wide open market. So there are a number of players that you may or may not be familiar with, but out of the players there, at most they're a year ahead. And we know in the marketplace that out of the 800,000 practicing physicians, less than 500 of them are using any one of these competitor solutions. We really have a lot of differentiators ranging from our technology solution. We have proprietary algorithms that we just filed for patent protection on in March. We're building on top of the knowledge graph architecture. We're the only ones to be doing that, as well as using the TechSpot to actually get data before you even talk to the patient. At the same time, we have a first mover advantage here in the Midwest, and we're really capitalizing on that. We see that as a key advantage. Everybody else is focused on the West Coast. And we have a fundamental philosophical difference in that we think that designing user experience is as important as the technology, and that really shows it in the product that we're building. Where we'd like to be, where we plan to be in about 5 years is doing about $34 million in annual recurring revenue, and that translates to a valuation of about $300 million. I think some key metrics along the way that we're looking to hit in the first year are 100 users by the end of 2019, which would be equivalent to about $30,000 monthly recurring revenue, and our break-even's at about 200 users. Where we're at, and to get there, obviously we have to build a sales and marketing team. And I'll talk a little bit about that. We have a number of important strategic partnerships with the #1 telehealth provider, Doctor on Demand, and we're working on a preferred partnership with the Wisconsin Medical Society. We have a number of risks ranging from data security, user adoption, market competition, technology, and product, and really everything we're doing at this point is to mitigate those risks. The team is co-founded by individuals like myself and Logan Marquez who have a background in both healthcare and data analytics, as well as our CTO and CPO who have a proven track record of building healthcare solutions from the ground up. At the same time, our Chief Revenue Officer is Chris Merrick. He has over 20 years of experience doing digital health sales and marketing. And our Chief Operating Officer is Jack, who will be graduating from University of Minnesota in his MBA this year. To date, we've raised about $135,000 in funding. We have our initial product built. We're launching right now. Again, patent protection filed. And those are just some of the summary points we want to mention. Thank you. Yes?
So kind of a twofold question
Yeah.
when it comes to who is the decision maker around this type of purchase, and
Yeah.
what are your sort of pricing levels to get to that year one adoption? Because I know that, I'm familiar with other talk-to-text things, and it does seem like they're differentiated from those. But will you be able to make the sale either within a hospital system or within some of the clinic settings that you were talking about?
Yeah, exactly. So our ideal customer profile is a small to medium-sized clinic that has about 10 to 15 physicians in it. And in that environment, the decision-making is quite different than if you were to go to like the Mayo Clinics of the world, where you're going to have to go through umpteen committees, there's going to be a chief information officer, et cetera. And really what we found at the clinics that size is that physicians maintain and retain a lot of autonomy and decision-making ability. So what happens is they often have a practice manager who serves as that initial gatekeeper, but really the decision process is in the hands of the physicians who are often cutting the checks. And so that's where we're at right now, just getting to market. That makes a lot more sense than getting lost in the bureaucracy of a big healthcare system, although we plan to expand it.
How's your integration with the EMR platforms that those types of clinics use?
Yeah, so that's something we're actively working on right now. A lot of it, again, goes back to user interface and design. What we've done is we've built a solution that can run in parallel to the EHR right now without adding much in the way of friction at all. And then integration comes, very, very early with additional funding that we're raising right now. It's really one of the first things we're going to do. On top of that, one of the technologies we're building out in addition to what we have is technology that allows us to integrate on top of the EHR rather than kind of going backdoor into the EHR, which most people do. And that allows a physician to download it the same day and really have it work out of the box with their EHR. So again, that idea of cutting down the sales cycle, not having to go through, you know, some committees, a chief information officer, really giving the power for the physician to use the solution they want, which they don't have right now. The solutions are often each other for them.
We've seen a few other like companies
Yeah.
that have presented. Can you tell me in a couple sentences, what is your value proposition? Why would you be better than some of the other ones out there?
Yeah, I think so. Our key competitor is a company named Suki, and they claim to be an AI medical scribe. And at the end of the day, what they have AI-like features or an autonomous field, but they're sending that audio to a human remote scribe in Texas or India. And so we're a truly no human in the loop, truly AI solution. And then that shows in the price point. So their list price is about $900 a month. We're able to then go at $499 a month and be 50% more affordable, while having, you know, our ended note or the draft note be delivered to the physician much quicker, because there's no human that's having to analyze it and type everything out.
Time.
Hi everybody, my name is Chris Lukenbill, and today I want to talk to you about Sherpa, a better way to explore our communities. So just like all of you, I have a busy schedule. So when I have an opportunity to take my wife out on a date, or show some friends around town, to try and put together a plan for that day, I just don't have the time to be going through all of these reviews, trying to find some good locations that I can put together into a fun itinerary, and then figuring out all the logistics of all of that. And I just want to be given something that gives me a few good options that fits the time that I have available and my interests. And so that's why Andy and I created Sherpa. So let's see a live demo of our actual site. Sherpa is a platform to help people discover businesses and attractions in their local communities. And this is done through itineraries that are handcrafted by local guides. And the important thing to note here is these itineraries, to make it scalable and approachable for people, the guides don't travel with you on the itineraries. They're put onto Sherpa and made available for everybody whenever they have the time and the interest to be able to go out there. So let's take this date night for an example. I'm going to go to the site, look through a few of the options. We've got Driftless Treasures over here in Fillmore County, Family Fun. Let's go check out the Foodie Date Night. That seems like a good fit. We'll click into the preview. The first thing that we'll see is a little description about the experience. And over to the left, we have the what to bring list, along with some additional details about the experience. And then down here, you'll see we have multiple locations that are put together in this itinerary, and I didn't have to do all of the work of figuring out the logistics and finding out about all of these businesses. Sherpa's done that for me. So let's click on See More and see what the day would be like. Our first stop is going to be at Lavetta, a great rooftop bar in Rochester, and our guide has told us that we want to show up shortly before sunset, so that we can grab a glass of wine and enjoy the view. Our next stop that we're going to go to is Blue Duck. We're going to get some bar bite appetizers, but we were told to make sure to not fill up too much because the main course is here at Fiddlehead. And then if we still have time and we still have energy after Fiddlehead, we can go down to Bitter and Pour, a speakeasy in Rochester, and we even have a pro tip here to be able to help us get into that hidden entrance that we have. So finally, at the end of the experience, we have the opportunity to be able to provide some feedback so that we can make that better through Sherpa. So now that we've seen a really quick tour of what this is like as a traveler, let's talk about the business side of it. So with our business, the business model monetization happens around the local businesses through featured itineraries, ads, and usage data. Now fortunately for us, they've already been introduced to this concept through platforms like Yelp and TripAdvisor. In addition, these platforms have also proven this out to be as an effective way to be able to have a primary source of revenue. So talking about that ad revenue, let's go look at the market of that with just a few numbers. So as of last year, there was over 20 million local businesses that spent 151 billion in local ad spend. Of that 151 billion, 37 of which was spent on online and mobile, the area that we'll be in. And this is the market size. Who are we competing with on this large market? So again, Yelp and TripAdvisor, they're recognizable at that national level. They really focus on the user-curated data or user-created business reviews. And then when we get to the local level, we have the visitors bureaus that have a smaller amount of ad hoc content. And now more recently, Instagram has become more popular, especially with the social influencers. So how is Sherpa different? How do we compare? Our primary example, or our primary advantage, is with the full experiences. So we help the people be able to understand, the travelers to be able to discover new locations in their communities, as well as handling the logistics of getting to these areas. And next, we're business positive. So we focus on everything that makes the business great, instead of the highlights and lowlights. And finally, we're local focused. So we have local itineraries that fit into your schedule throughout the year. So these are some of the advantages. What are the risks that we're dealing with on this? Our initial risk is really creating quality content at scale. So to be able to address that, to mitigate that, we're actively working with the guides, both to be able to create engaging content with them, and also be able to understand what drives them, what motivates them to be able to create good content. Second, we're actively working from the beginning with the travelers, with the customers, to be able to give feedback that we had on the feedback form from day one on our landing page, to the beta testers that we're working with right now on the actual site, and now launching the MVP of the site this month to be able to get even more feedback from additional travelers. So when I talk about launching this, who's the group that's doing that? Right now it's Andy Vig and myself. So we both bring a lot of tech experience along with a dynamic combination of startup experience. So Andy has a lot of experience on the software architecture of building software systems at scale for large companies like Microsoft. I've been fortunate enough to have multiple successful exits, including my last company. It was acquired by a business that was backed by the SoftBank Vision Fund. So I've been through this before. Now, how far along are we as a company on this? This started in January of this year. The initial idea came together. We are launching the MVP, like we said, this month. That gives us the summer to be able to promote it and continue to refine our monetization strategy. We're setting ourselves a goal for the end of the summer to have 20,000 trips taken. And that'll give us enough information to be able to move into our next region in the fall. So we hope that you'll join us in a journey with Sherpa as we create a better way to explore our communities. Thank you.
Can you talk a little bit about how the guides get paid?
Yeah, so with our guides, again, going back to how we can best motivate them, there's a few different players out there that we've already connected with, both on the EDA side of things, the travel business, basically the people that already have a need to be able to show off their communities, whether they're the tourism bureaus, the EDAs, or people that have their own business, they want to feature themselves in a different way. They're able to create the content, and we're able to give them another avenue to be able to do that.
And then how do you target those folks?
So that's through connections on the site that we're connecting with, just getting the name out there. We've had some people that have reached out to us already just with getting our name out in Rochester, and also the reason why we're focusing on the local regions themselves. So instead of spreading ourselves too broad and getting into multiple different areas, we're focusing on a specific region to start, and then be able to continue to expand on that. As we build out those regions, we see the need for a community engagement manager, somebody who's really helping to actively drive that community, and that'll be their role, is reaching out to those individuals as well as the businesses.
What are the milestones, or which communities do you need to effectively onboard to get to that 20,000 users by the end of the summer? That just seems super ambitious, so what's your path towards that look like?
Yeah, so it starts with Rochester and then southeast Minnesota. So we have a good opportunity here with Rochester being a little bit of a unique community with the amount of people that are coming in, as well as a large community that's already there looking to learn more about a community they've just been introduced to. So And then in addition to that, these small communities around Rochester have a lot of their own personality and a lot of attractions to be able to bring people into. And this is a way to be able to help feature that. And again, having that focus in that region is why we're starting in that density.
We theorize a small number of itineraries could really serve a lot of actual travelers.
For sure. Yeah, how do you plan to get the eyeballs? I mean, whether it's a use case within Rochester, how do you get enough traction that people who are coming here from other places know to look for you as they're trying to plan their trip?
So there's the social media side of things that we'll be integrating with or starting with to be able to get the name out there and promote it a little bit more. As we start getting more content and more people traveling on it, we're integrating with that social media so that they can as well spread a word of mouth type of thing. It's an online word of mouth, so they're sharing their travels that they've been going on. So that's definitely a side of it. And then with Rochester being a little bit unique with the amount of people coming in from different regions through one channel, there's ways that we can reach out to them in more of a physical presence through the visitors experience center, through mail and things like
We
that.
expect the businesses as well to be interested in giving themselves exposure through this.
What would stop someone else from doing what you're doing and ramp up even faster?
Yelp has attempted it, and other sites have experimented in it, but they've done very poorly. I suspect it's because they distraction from their core mission, and for us, our protection is likely the massive user-generated content that we'll have long term.
All right, is that it? Thank you, appreciate it.
And we're right on time. Thanks to Sharon.
Thanks. Awesome. Hey guys, my name is Sam Barsness.
I'm AJ Hawkins.
And we're both commercial real estate brokers in the Rochester, Minnesota area. Unfortunately, unable to join us tonight was our other co-founder, Ahmed, who was a prior CoreLogic software developer. And CoreLogic is a large real estate software company. So what we're building is Skyworks. So AJ and myself, we've worked at a couple different size firms in the southeast Minnesota area. Started at a much smaller boutique firm, now working at Keller Williams, which is the largest residential firm in the nation, quickly growing their commercial sector. And what we found across the board is that there's this universal problem in commercial real estate of disaggregated data and inefficient workflows for commercial real estate agents. So as agents, our main goal is to create a mutually beneficial deal for our investors and the buyers and sellers and the tenants who we're working with. And to do that, we rely on a lot of different platforms, both online and offline, through our networks, calls and networking groups, our brokerages and other brokerage relationships we have, and marketplaces online to try and piece these deals together. And it's a really tedious process that often boils down to just trying to find the best deal that we possibly can in an expanse of data that we could never possibly hope to comb through all of. And so what brokerages have started to do to try and combat some of these disorganization issues is implement CRMs across the board. It doesn't so much solve the issue of trying to find and structure good deals as much as it is just trying to help them, the agents, organize their workflows as they move through the transaction. And that's created even more headache because as brokers, we don't want to be sitting there working in our CRMs all the time. We want to be out selling and making these connections. And so our solution is a first of its kind automated transaction management system specifically geared towards commercial real estate agents. So our system does things like connect to their email and automatically upload deal documents to one central location. From there, artificial intelligence can handle a lot of the mundane tasks of a deal, getting documents signed, contacting contractors, things that are really repeatable systems that we often just handle ourselves and amounts to a lot of the time that we have invested in a deal. These are things that a software can handle and currently don't today. So why this and why now? Like we talked about earlier, there are some competitors today. Brokerages and this whole tech CRE thing is kind of new. Residential has already began to be disrupted by companies like Redfin, like Zillow, these tech startups, and we haven't quite seen that level of disruption in commercial real estate yet. What we have is kind of prehistoric CRMs, things built on a Salesforce platform where agents have several different logins for different parts of the CRM, things that make the transaction even more clunky for us. They don't help us, and they certainly don't help us structure deals. So a system like Skyworks is a win-win for brokerages when it's implemented in place of one of these CRMs. It's something that agents actually use because for the first time it helps them structure better deals and save time versus just take more of their time. It's less work for, less risk for the brokerages themselves because the transactions are being handled well. And of course the clients like it because they're creating the system with all of our data is helping create the most beneficial deals possible for every party to a transaction. And most importantly, our artificial intelligence works for, not against the agent. So where some companies are trying to replace the agent with software, we understand that especially in the commercial sector, agents do play a really vital role to helping with advisory, and I mean, they're really financial advisors when it boils right down to it. So our software just helps exacerbate that. So the really exciting potential with all this is the eventual creation of an online marketplace where commercial real estate can be bought and sold online. Now what's incredibly unique about a system like ours is we'll be able to connect not only individual buyers and sellers who know about our marketplace, because there's several marketplaces that people are already using today to find these deals, but we'll be able to connect and transact them through people repped by brokerages and people who are investing in transacting their own deals online. We've also got some different verticals that we can branch out into. Construction product management, litigation management, insurance sales, residential real estate even, and mortgage brokering, all industries that operate a lot like commercial real estate does, same agent model, and something that would be applicable for a software like this. So as far as our customer segments, we've got agents and brokers. So per head, people are already used to paying about $100 a month. That's standard for a lot of commercial real estate brokers. And so this is nothing new to them. We're just replacing what they're already paying for with a better system at the same price. A unique thing about a system like ours is it's a great place for vendors, so contractors, commercial lenders, etc., to market their services directly to commercial agents, which is their first and most important contact in their sale. Right now, there's not a good place for them to market at all. They're really relying on networking groups and local places to try and make these connections. This would be a much broader reach for them. And then starting year 4 with the launch of our marketplace, as we're projecting, we can look at taking a commission on the actual transaction that we're handling on our software. As far as our market size goes, a little bit of a roll up here. So starting with $3.7 billion, the amount of money that agents collectively are spending on software tools like this to help them transact their business today on an annual basis. $22 billion is the amount of commission payouts in commercial real estate over the last year. Vendor advertising market coming in at $39.4 billion. So this is the ad spend that these commercial specific vendors are spending annually. So projecting our numbers, we're looking at a total revenue of $109 million by year 6. To really the way we landed on that is we looked at, for each of these different segments that we're looking to branch into, where has our competition done it before, what was their trajectory, and we made our numbers a little bit more conservative. So comparing a CBRE, JLL, large brokerages to our projections, they transact $337 billion in a year. We're looking at doing 2.25. And this is the slide that Ahmed usually speaks on because he's really got the technical knowledge. Starting with our MVP, again, there are some quick, easy win features that we can start to implement today. Some of these artificial intelligence automation features to take work off the agent's shoulders and make the transaction process smoother, all the way to the creation of our marketplace as we collect more data and make our software better at augmenting the transaction process. These are some things, and here's our team. So me and AJ, Ahmed, who we spoke about, and then Alex White, who currently is working at the Nail Clinic as a product positioning and advertising executive. All right, questions?
Where are you at in terms of your getting to your first goal, getting this in the marketplace? is how much money are you looking for to do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a lot of our initial customer discovery done. Obviously, we are the customer. We've got a lot of network that we've been able to vet and really get down to the nuts and bolts of what people want to see today and beyond. And so that's all done. We've got our software architecture all mapped out. We've got working wireframes just to understand deal flow and how the software will actually work. And so now we're just looking to raise $500,000. We want to hire, it's a high ask, and the reason for that is we want to hire a team that's previously worked with Ahmed at CoreLogic. They've already got a great rapport, and these guys are obviously industry experienced. That comes at a price.
And then where will that get you at the end of that 500?
That gives us 15 months of runway, so that will get us to our MVP and then to our go-to-market. Yeah.
What are your risks? I guess I'm particularly interested in who owns the data that you're imagining integrating into your platform. That seems like it's really critical to being able to help brokerage justify switching costs from an existing CRM.
That's a good question. So I think we actually might have a slide tacked on to the very end of this. We have some question and answer slides. Yeah, so data. This kind of helps answer that a little bit more concisely. But the net of it is we're trying to do two things. We're trying to collect data and utilize it in a way that mutually benefits everybody while not putting out one specific person. So we're not going to take names, leads, anything that could steal something from my back pocket and put it in yours in one geographic area. We're not going to share that broadly. What we want to do is we want to aggregate a lot of data that we're collecting at a granular level from these transactions to make deals come together without exposing sensitive data.
A lot of the data that we'll be collecting is also public information. So right now, a deal gets done, the marketplace out there is LoopNet. They have salespeople that call you, what did this deal get done and what's all the information. It's very time and labor intensive. So us having the transaction computer system, we'll have it right there.
So just getting up to that point where those integrations are taking place, what are the systems or public places that you need to, is that part of building out your team that you need? Because it seems like it's would be a lot of manual integration up front before you have that MVP ready.
Yeah.
So are you trying to keep that, do you have one target market that you're going to use for your MVP to keep some of the research under control at the beginning, or how do you?
Absolutely. So the great thing is it scales really nicely. It's kind of a broad and complex thing to think about at scale, but really starting today, if you're an agent on the system and I'm an agent on the system and there's only two of us, if you start just putting in your deal information, the names and numbers and locations and kind of the criteria that your clients are looking for. So for example, you've got a tenant looking for 2,000 square feet. I put in a transaction, I have a landlord who owns 10,000 square feet. Even though it's just us two on the system, we can connect that deal and transact the deal right there. So we're not relying on a lot of upfront data compaction from outside sources. It'll just scale nicely and we'll collect data as our user count grows. There's those advantages right away without having the data on our platform for the agents.
Time.
Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you. Great pitches. The judges have some work to do now. If you guys want to go back in the back conference room, or is it something?